What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the show. Today is an awesome episode because we have new friends of ours, recent mastermind grads. Shout out to Laura and Brian from 9th in Maine, all the way down from Texas. They are killing it right now. They have a creative agency called 9th in Maine, and they're doing some amazing, amazing stuff as a husband-wife team, and just as people that are relatively new to working together. Laura joined the business in January of this year, so they're just about 4.5 months in, and their story so far is incredible. This episode is going to cover a lot of stuff. That's awesome. So give them a little sneak peek.
Incredible. So we talk about how they have built a $13,000 per month retainer business in 6 weeks. Like they were at about a little over $1,000 a month retainer, and then they ended with $13,000 in retainers at the end of the 6 weeks. So we talk about what they did in order to accomplish that. We get into the nitty gritty of sales calls, pitching, nurturing warm leads,
marketing themselves,
getting their face on socials, even when that doesn't feel comfortable. We talk about a bunch of different stuff of how they've been able to develop this business, and you're going to learn so much from it. Literally, there's a point in the podcast where I'm like, you guys need to go and record what Laura said and just copy and paste that onto your sales calls. It's so good.
Yeah,
so much value, so much information. It's awesome. And Laura and Brian are just so, so cool. We are so excited for you to listen to this episode. If you are interested in doing the same mastermind they did, the 6-week Creative Rise Mastermind, our next one is coming in the fall. So we will only
great news. Round 14.
Round 14, it's coming, and we are so, so excited. If you want to get on the wait list for that, all you have to do is go to creativerise.com and join the wait list. You'll get some bonuses if you join as well, which is super cool. And you can be the first to apply for the next round.
Yeah, which is going to be great. So enjoy this conversation. We'll listen to the whole thing because there's so much gold in here. Take notes and actually apply it to what you're doing in your day-to-day as a business owner, because Laura and Brian have got so much for us all to learn from, which is really cool. So shout out to Laura and Brian from 9th in Maine. Shout out to Texas, the great state of Texas. Here's our episode with them. Alrighty, Laura and Brian, welcome to the show. So glad to have you guys on here. This is going to be a really fun conversation. This is the second Christy and I met you guys. We're like, we're going to get them on the podcast one day, and we can't wait to chat with them about what's going to happen, because when we first met you guys, we're like, one, they're so fun, super talented, and you guys are just hungry to go out and like build things, grow your business, and really, we just love teams too. Yeah. You guys know this, but we're big fans of teams. So welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much. We're really excited to be here.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Yeah. 100%. Well, we start every podcast with rapid fire, as you guys know. So real quick, give us a name, where you're from, and what you guys do.
Yeah. You want to start?
Cool. Laura and my husband, Brian, and we run a creative agency in Dripping Springs,
Texas.
We're Texas. Yeah.
Woo-woo.
I love it. I love it. And your creative agency.
Yeah. So we focus
expound on that a little bit more.
Yeah. So we focus on video for luxury brands.
And content strategy.
Yeah.
On the back.
A lot of strategy.
Cool. And define what a luxury brand looks like for most of your clientele. Is this supercars? For everyone who's like, okay, luxury can go in all these different areas. Like, what does that look like application-wise?
Yeah, so we're working with some luxury home builders, interior designers, architects, people in like the home space, or like even like a resort style, and possibly a plastic.
Plastic surgery.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. There you go. Yeah. So like med spa, medical stuff. That's cool. I love it. And then how long have you guys been in business for? Give us just a super short little history on you two being in business together.
So like really 9th and Maine has really only been running for, I'd say, about 1.5 years. But we've been in this, like when I met him 15 years ago, like we started doing this, and then we kind of both went on our own paths and kind of try to, figure out our own careers. So we always knew that we were going to come back. 9th in Maine, the name of our creative agency, is actually where we met. We met in Los Angeles working like through video production on the corner of 9th and Maine. So we just felt like
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
No,
oh, I remember hearing that story. It's so awesome.
That's great.
So we had to give a nod back. But I really I joined all in. I used to run another business. I used to do something else. And I joined in January, like full time. So it's May. So really since we've been both 100, it's been only 5 months.
Yeah. Which is amazing. Wow. And quick little spoiler, we're going to get more into this in a few minutes, but what is your current monthly recurring revenue at as it pertains to like retainers, like committed work? Just for everybody who's listening, they're like, okay, Laura hopped in January. Like they've only been doing this for a couple months together. Where are you guys at?
Yeah, it's crazy to even like say this number out loud. I had to do the math because I couldn't believe it. We're at 13,500. And when we started the mastermind in recurring, we were at 1,800.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you guys
from
have
1,800
massively
to
increased
almost $14,000 a
Almost
month in what, 8 weeks now?
Yeah,
9
and you were just telling us
it was like
you
6
guys
weeks
have
'cause you didn't
some
make
more
that
on the
6
horizon that you guys might be adding to your book of clients, which is really cool.
Guys,
Which
it's incredible.
should get you over that like 16,000 per month, which is amazing. So, and that's
So
just
cool.
talking recurring revenue.
I know.
That's like
Yep.
signed retainers. Not even talking about all the one-off stuff
Yeah.
you guys do, which is so cool. Okay, last question.
So we're gonna talk about all the incredible things that you guys have done to make that happen. But let's make you guys real humans for a second for everybody listening.
Okay.
What is a flop? What's something that Laura and Brian have done in their business that is either embarrassing, was a complete failure? Let's humanize you guys for a second. What's a flop?
You want to go first?
Yeah. Both of our flops have to do with audio, which is kind of funny. I just recently, like 2 weeks ago, and it's so funny that when I first listened to you guys and we joined the mastermind, I looked at him and I was like, we're going to be on this podcast one day. Like, I just know we are.
Oh, I love that.
And I just knew it. And then I was like, oh shit, like I don't really have a flop. Like what was my question? And then 2 weeks ago, so my job on shoots, he's, the one behind the camera. So I'm like producing and client facing and I'm like miking people up and all that. So we were at this live event. It was like an unveiling of a restaurant, and one of the owners was about to go out. She had plates of food and all this. She was about to give her a little speech. We were recording live, interviews, and I was like miking her up, and I had the little clasp of the mic, and then it just snapped and like it flew into the buttery dish, like whatever she was holding.
Hummus.
It was like some saucy something, and it just like flew right in, and I was like, so I just picked it up and I was like, and I just tried to suck the sauce out of it.
You
Just licked the hummus off of the mic and then
I didn't know
put it back and then put it back on.
Yeah, pretty much. It worked.
It still works. It still worked. Shout out to DJI, like the mic twos, like they worked. So you kept rolling. So
Wait, hold on a second.
So funny.
I was thinking this was like a lav mic with a little clip, and the clip fell off. You're talking the actual DJI mic fell into the hummus.
Yeah.
Yep. She tried to clap it here, and it just boop.
Oh.
And fell into the hummus.
Oh my gosh.
I thought it was too. I thought it was like the clip.
Everybody, for a visual here, I literally have these
There you
right
go.
here. You're
Oh,
talking
that's it,
one of
yeah.
these
Yep.
just flew off into the hummus, and you just picked it up, licked the hummus off of
I
it.
It kept going. It worked. Yeah. She sucked out like
Hey.
the little whatever was covering like the mic, and
Yeah.
it still
It
works.
works. So
Wow.
Let this be a warning to anyone listening. If you are aspiring to be a guest on the podcast, a flop will find you.
A flop will find
flop
you.
will always
It
find you
always
before you
does.
get on.
Brian,
what's your
what
flop?
you got, Brian? I mean,
This
you're
was
running the
embarrassing.
camera. You must have some good stuff.
This one was, I haven't had a flop in a minute, but this one was, we were working on a campaign for a client, and we had scheduled in that same day 2 sets of interviews. So the first half was like a group of people, and then the second half was another group. So that first half, great, lighting's good, sounds perfect, everything's great. Come to find out, when I get home, I always do this just from paranoia, back up all the footage, right? Just make sure everything's good.
no.
And I notice it's flatline, like there's no audio, because usually I hit it and I bake it into the camera, and then I have the external that's recording as well.
Mm-hmm.
But come to find out, the external wasn't recording, so I didn't have a backup.
It was like 8 interviews that we did, and they looked amazing, and they had no audio.
Gosh.
So yeah, the client was super cool though, because we were just like, yeah, we had a malfunction, and we just need to do these pickups. But luckily, we had the second half group, which kind of filled out a lot of the campaign anyways. So
Yeah.
the next day we did the pickup of the people that we missed, but it was a little embarrassing just getting that.
Oh,
Dude.
Joey and I have done that since we record a lot of stuff just here in the house. I can't tell you how many times.
How many times on
Joey
this podcast?
looks at me. He looks at me after the podcast. We just filmed a podcast or like a guest interview or something like that, which hopefully, fingers crossed, doesn't happen to this one. And he'll look at me. He goes, that wasn't recording. And I'm like, no!
Oh no.
The worst feeling.
It's the
We feel
worst.
you.
You know what's the worst is when it's not flatlined and you look at the audio file, it's not flatlined, but there's these tiny little things and all it is because like the mic's not like fully like
Yep.
oh dude.
Can you tell this has happened to us a few times?
Yeah, this is a
That's a
sore
good flaw.
spot. This
That's
is
a good
yeah. It's probably caused some marital problems,
Yeah.
actually. I'm like, Christy, I'll just look at Christy and I'm shaking my head and
Some
be like,
rage.
dude, you didn't get
Oh,
that.
no.
No
Christy's
rage,
like,
like
no.
audio rage.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay, so
Oh my gosh.
you guys, good job humanizing yourself because those are very real things. That story, Laura, about the hummus is hilarious.
Yeah.
Audio is terrifying. So that's funny. Both yours were about audio, but okay. So you guys are fresh into business, fully together on this. You guys have been together for a long time from a personal life perspective, but you've jumped into business together in January, which means you're 5 months ish or 4.5 months into this, and you're already doing $14,000 in recurring revenue, which is amazing every single month. So you're just about to cross this threshold, not even including all the one-offs you guys are going to do this year, into having a $200,000 plus per year business. Amazing. Why don't you start quickly by breaking down what do the actual offers look like? You said you work with luxury brands, really helping them get digital with their video. Like, what do the offers actually look like? For everyone's going, how do you make that much money in a month? What are you guys actually selling to them? What are the deliverables looking like? Just give us a high-level overview of that, just to kind of set the stage for the conversation for people that are like, I want to do that as well. What can I learn from these two?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I was gonna say really quick before we get into the detail of that. I think that's the one thing we drive home a lot when we're talking to the client is just knowing how supported they are in this process. It's like going back to like the less transactional piece. So like, I think something that we learned a lot from y'all was that is like, you know, upfront showing the value. It's like, you know, it's not just a service that you're gaining. You're gaining an extension of your brand, all that upfront, so that when we do get into the nitty gritty and we get into the numbers, it's like, then it's like, oh, I get it. I get why this is.
It makes it way easier for them to be like, oh yeah, I'll agree to that. When you've, you know, as you guys teach, provide all the value. So we have 2 core offers. We do our core, all of our clients are really on this one. It's $3,500 a month, recurring. It's a 2-hour shoot. We deliver 8 reels, 15 images, and 4 clips, just like quick little clipped out. And it's all, you know, very polished. We shoot, you know, it's all very beautifully done. And we do all the strategy. So we produce, like I script, you know, we interview all of our clients to really make sure that we're going to hit hard with and be very intentional with the content that we're creating and not just like do a lot of the same type of content. And then we started managing their accounts, like if they want the social media, which has been, I remember when I like met you guys, I was like, I don't want to do social media management. And then like 4 weeks later, I was like, well, I guess I'm managing social media now too. So, which is really cool because.
Yeah. And why is that?
Well, it just felt like it was so, it's like, how can we do all this and put all this love and making it so beautiful? And then we leave it up to whoever to post it, you know, it's like, so now we really close the loop and we really solve the whole problem for people. So if
I feel like that was a big pain point from a lot of the, because that was something after we went and we pitched them, they were like, do you guys also do social? And that's when we started like, okay, like let's think about this because
so if
we want to solve the whole problem, not just a part of it.
Yeah.
So if they choose to add on social, it's an additional like $1,500 a month, I want to say.
It's like 47.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah. So if
amazing,
you're doing
guys.
content and you're doing social, you guys are pushing up on to $5,000 a month, which is amazing. It's $60,000 a year. And what's beautiful about that is if you were to hire a full-time social media manager and a full-time content person who was as skilled as you guys, it would cost way more than that, probably triple that in salary minimum. And you guys are able to deliver that at an incredibly high production value with an incredible, you know, attention to detail on the social media side and strategic detail on the social media management side. And you're doing it for $60,000 a year, which this is one of the things that I want to touch on real quick before you get into your second offer. For anyone listening to the show, often we as creatives, and you guys can chime in on this if you feel like you've ever felt this, we often feel like retainers are self-serving. They're selfish for us. Like, oh, someone's going to pay me $3,500 a month. Like, how am I ever going to convince someone to do that? It feels like it's a selfish thing. And what I want people listening to the show and through, the story of you guys is that retainers, if done right, are incredible value at a really cost-effective rate for a business. And so they get a phenomenal ROI on you. And that's why the relationship continues over months or even potentially years. It adds amazing value to their business and incredible financial stability to yours. Such a win-win.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And maybe someone's sitting here going like, okay, 8 reels and 15 images. I can't get someone to pay me $800 for that right now. I love what you guys alluded to, which was we're not just showing up, right? The job is actually not just showing up and shooting. The job is all the prep work that happens before and all the strategy and all the content strategy. I love when you guys were saying what you did and it wasn't just, hey, we're videographers, but you're like, hey, yeah, content strategy, right? Like that's such a massive part of it. Talk a little bit about what that actually looks like. So for these retainer clients, when you're doing the content strategy piece of it before you ever show up on set, what does that process look like? What does the scripting look like? What does the ideation look like? And how has that been so valuable for your clients?
Yeah, totally. I guess I'll take that because that's really like my lead. We're busy people, right? So like my process, we have 2 kids and I'm, a lot of times like, ChatGPT is my best friend. A little hack I do is I just voice to text. Like I don't even have I don't have even time to type it. Like I'm just brain dumping like all of my ideas. This is our client. This is who they are. So I give them like an overview and then I come up with the ideas. So I have like kind of an overarching, I know the story that I want to tell. For us, it's really important that we tell the story of the brand in every way. And we're not just like, our content feels very almost like subliminal, like they're the experts and we're pushing them, we're highlighting them in a way that's really going to engage people. So I just, it helps me organize my brain, which is great because, we were just juggling a lot with life, kids and work. And so I come up with the scripts. And so I always have kind of like my ideal, this is like what I would ideally love for them to say, but then, they never do.
Of course.
For sure.
So then I break it down and like, okay, what are the questions I need to ask to draw the story out? So then I'm prepared, I print everything or I have it on the iPad and I have it ready on the day of the shoot. And then if for a full back, some clients just are a little less, they've never been on camera. So it might be like really hard for them. So now we're doing it where it's like, we have this ideal script we want them to say, and then we have them say the first line on camera, the middle line on camera, and the last line on camera. And then the rest, they can really just read it. That's just like have as a backup, as a safety in case they start rambling. And then, so when I'm on set and I'm really producing, I'm making sure that they're giving me the story that keeps me engaged. Because if they go off on a tangent or they start talking slow, then I'm like, you got to bring it back. Like we got to, So, it's a lot about the prep work. There's, and then for him, obviously there's a lot of prep work and like, he's thinking about the shot and the direction and the lighting and like all the gear and all those things. And I'm the one really looking at the story and like how we're going to, that way in post-production, it's like,
it's easier.
This is what we want.
Faster.
This is the edit. And we're just,
intentional.
Yeah. Very intentional.
Yeah. I love
Awesome,
that. There's so much thought going into it, and that is why you guys are able to get paid that much money for that. So when you say 8 reels, like a lot of people think 8 reels. How do I come up with 8 reels for a home builder in a 2-hour shoot? Like how many different ways can you shoot a house to make 8 reels? But you guys are doing so much more than just like a real estate style walkthrough, right? So why don't you explain what are some different types of content or different types of talking head videos or scripted videos? Like what are the different types of content that you're constantly selling to your clients and that you're seeing your clients get results from that keep clients wanting to stay on with you guys and continue to come back and partner with 9th and Main?
Yeah.
For me, the biggest one is honestly humanizing them. Like off the bat, like when we start with content where we actually put, if you look at home builders in general, like they're kind of like this like mysterious person that like is in an office or just like you don't really see them. But like I think bringing them to camera, humanizing them off the bat, that already makes a huge impact. You know, like for example, one of our clients, like we just started with that. Like we got to put you on, people got to see your face. They got to see that you're, you know, you're a real person, you know, because that's what people connect to. They connect to people. They don't connect to things. So content wise, a lot of it's starting off with like, you know, either a piece of origin story of like, you know, how they start, other pieces of content, for example, like the interior design that we're doing right now for a client.
Then the other one can be like a tip, like a hot take of like why you chose this in the home. And so like really making you come off as the expert, like you chose to build it in this way because of why. So now we're really trying to be very intentional of like, there's 8 reels. We try to shoot for 2 of those having no audio. So like no on camera. And those are just like the hype, vibey, multi-shot, you know, kind of more of a compilation style. And then at least 3 or 4 of those are them on camera in a different room, in a different place, with a change of outfit even, you know, to make their content look like, you know, it's, you know, it's for the whole month. So, you know, we don't want to ever look redundant. And just pulling like we just really want to highlight them as the expert. So I think there's, you know, and then last night actually I was just talking to Brian and I'm like, oh, you know what we should start having 2 of the reels is like having them go on really speaking to their ideal client. So the way that you guys have taught us, like create content for your ideal client. So not so much like, well, so we chose to build this house like this, actually having them go on and be like, if you live in the hill country and you're looking to build your dream home, you know, so actually like look at the camera and talk to them. So kind of more of that call to action, like, you know, I'm a designer in this area and I'd love to bring you know, your whole, you know, like your ideas to life, but just making it so that way it makes it, I feel like we're giving even more value because how difficult is it as a business owner? Like we know this, right? Like it was hard to get us out of our shell to like go on and like talk to our ideal client. Like it felt really cringy and just hard for us to do. But the minute we started doing that, we were like, wow, random people we didn't even know were following us. So like we're starting, you know, and so imagine if every business was able to go on and just speak. But even if you're going to do it yourself, like it's hard to record yourself. But if you have a team of people that are there to make you feel really natural and in your zone, and we're going to do it and we're going to make you look like the expert and it's going to look beautiful and it's going to be like the best I feel like that gives people a lot more value than just like another hype reel that we could offer.
Yeah. Totally. And I think what you guys are talking about is so important. And I think it's such a great sales technique too, when you are trying to talk to somebody about the difference between just a hype reel or just a portfolio piece, right? Because some of those things, you could find someone else, a real estate photographer or videographer, to come in and do, you know, a shot of the home or whatever for way cheaper. But what you guys are doing is you're not only giving the content, but you're also creating like a funnel for people, right? Like you're creating a nurturing funnel for people that lives on their socials that continues to push them towards buying rather than just like, oh, I'm impressed by that. It's like, oh, I know, like, and trust that person. I'm building a personal brand what's inside of their business. And that's building an entirely different type of business, which is really powerful when it comes to people wanting to say yes to high-end, luxurious, high ticket cost things, which is really massive.
Yeah, if you're taking notes and you're listening to the podcast, what I heard you guys just say, Laura and Brian, you were saying we help our clients become humanized. Yeah. We help them become experts or educators in their space, meaning they're sharing their knowledge base and their expertise, which makes people trust them. So humanizing makes people like them. Sharing their knowledge and expertise makes people trust them. And then you're also helping them then sell. You're talking like direct to their customer, their ideal client. We help them script videos and talk to their ideal client, which then helps them sell, right? So you're helping humanize, make them experts, and then help them sell, which is the trifecta of building any type of business. And you guys are coming on in and doing that so well for your clients. I love that. Why don't we talk about how are you actually getting these clients? Like how did you go from 8 weeks ago, you had $1,800 in recurring revenue to now You've done over 10x that. You guys are already, almost 10x that. You guys are at almost $14,000 per month, and that's going to grow. I'm sure in 3 weeks from now, we could have this conversation again, and that number is going to be different. Like, how are you guys actually getting these clients? That's the biggest question that a lot of people are going to be asking when they hear your story. So why don't you lay the groundwork on prior to the mastermind, because we met you guys 8-9 weeks ago. Prior to the mastermind, what was your business / clientele looking like? How are you getting clients at that point? And then bring us up to speed on what's maybe changed or what you guys have done to acquire all these clients.
Yeah, totally. So before the mastermind, we were completely reactive, completely referral based, which we still are in a way, but like it's crazy to think that we haven't even implemented like a lead gen system or any of those things that, we haven't ran ads. We still haven't posted a 3-pin post about ourselves. Like, we have so much that is in the works. But it really has been referral based, which I think can be a blessing. Like, it can be really great, but you're also at the mercy of, if you're not bringing people, like if enough people aren't talking about you to other people that want your service, like you're really, before we might have had like a good month, and then the next month is like, maybe we had like a small project, and like that created a lot of inconsistency, a lot of stress. We're parents, we have 2 kids. It's like we have a lot of responsibilities on our back, and so
there's a lot on the line.
There's a lot on the line.
Absolutely.
I think being able to, I think this is one thing that I think I wanted to touch on is like, I really thought the mastermind, I was going to become like amazing at pitching, and I was going to like cold pitch a bunch of people. And it was my thing that I was like, I'm going to just reach out to a bunch of brands, but I'm here to, I guess, shed a little bit of light and give hope to people. Like, out of all those cold pitches that I sent, I got 0 responses. And it quickly, I was like, okay, I'm putting a lot of effort into this when we have this network. It felt like when we first moved to our little town, we didn't know anybody, and so we reached out to a luxury magazine so this is just kind of like, I guess, how we got our name out there. And we created a trade with them where we were like, they did this beautiful publication, and it was very, to our entire community, but they had no video. So we went in as like video partners. They loved the idea. So like, we create cool pieces for the magazine articles that they're doing. We'll do like here and there a piece, but that kind of really got our name out there. And it took a while. I mean, this was like probably a 1.5 years ago that we actually like nurtured this relationship with them. But from there, it was like one client. We got one client from there. So our OG retainer client came from that. Yeah. And everything else has been referral based. But now when I'm able to go on a sales call, it's no longer like, oh my God, what am I going to say? Like, I don't know what I'm selling them, and I feel like before we were working with kind of anybody who came to us that wanted work that, if it aligned. But now we're definitely much more selective. Like, we've kind of niched down.
Yeah.
And so being able to we serve kind of a more specific niche, but it's just really helped. It's like to our benefit because we're really like experts in that field. So it's just been like a complete 180 to how it was before.
Yeah. And I feel like the pitching, it may not have worked just on the outreach stuff, but like, as far as like Laura pitching, live with, a client, like, there's times where I go to the door and I hear her going, and then she comes out and she's like, we got it. I'm like, and like, that's a testament to you guys, because like, it's still like, practice is like, practice makes perfect.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta do the reps. Like, you gotta rep constantly. Like, so even if it's something that's a cold pitch on an email, like, continue to do it, because that's going to help you in the scenario where you're actually in front of a potential client,
Absolutely.
I love that. Yeah. I mean, you're just talking about how you went from a reactive state, meaning we're just hoping, waiting that someone's going to knock on the door this month, to a proactive state, even though you said you're very referral based. the truth is you're still putting in a lot of work in different areas in order
Yeah.
to have people want to come and refer you, right? And I love how you said you started pitching and quickly you were like, wait, I have all these other people that I could nurture rather than going after super, super cold people. Because
Yeah.
the truth is pitching works. It's just a high volume game, right?
And a long-term game, too.
Yeah, totally. Where you're
Yeah.
going, oh my gosh, wait, we had a couple of relationships
a
that we started to
network.
nurture. And because of that, we even got online. I mean, I saw you guys get online and post videos of yourself speaking to your ideal client. And you guys said the second you guys did that, you started to see some people come in and start to create conversations, right?
Yeah.
So that's amazing. That's like putting yourself out there, which is so
there's
cool.
all different forms of pitching, right? Like there's the cold email pitch that just is like the hardest form of getting in the door, right? And then there's like the pitching where you're like, hey, you're showing up on socials and you're pitching your services to the people that are seeing your content, and like you're pitching your services to people who are jumping in, via inquiry form, or you're pitching your service to past clients, which I tell people that all the time. They're like, I want to work with these types of people and blah, 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 blah. Or I just want business in general. And I'm like, all they immediately go to is, let me think about that one brand that I have no connections with and let me pitch that brand. And I'm like, totally, go for it. But who's warm already? Like who is like primed already for a sale? And you guys have crushed that. And you guys have really, really done such a good job on that. What does it look like for you guys in the sales process of getting someone on a retainer? Are you doing like test shoots? Are you just jumping straight into a retainer? Is it like, hey, we'll do one-off and then is it a retainer? What's your guys' kind of flow with these clients that you currently have?
It depends on the client.
Yeah. So I think most people come to us and they're like, we want a video, right? And so before we would have been like, yeah, we can do that video. And then we do that video and then, we maybe hear from them like a year later. Now I get on the sales call and I listen to them. I'm the doctor. I identify all the pain points. I get my ammo ready for when it's like
Love
my
it.
turn. And they tell me they want a video and I'm like, that's great. We can definitely do a video. Like, you've seen our work. We can definitely do that. But just a video isn't going to get you to your goals. So we've seen with our clients that we can do this amazing video. And then after that, what happens? Like their content just tanks, right? Because there's no consistency, there's no strategy. And for you to keep up with that level of content creation is just, it's a whole job in its own. So most of our clients, and this is how I will talk on the sales call, like most of our clients we work with on a recurring basis. We just see that that's really the way that maximizes their ROI. We make sure that, we become an extension of your team or the creatives, that we're there in your corner. And so we're tweaking, we're constantly, and this is all very true, like things that we do. And so I think in the very beginning, when I would say that, it felt kind of like imposter syndrome, because it was like, we didn't quite do that yet, but I knew that we had to do that from what we learned in the mastermind. But now that we have all the clients, it's so much easier to be like, well, this is what our clients pick and this is why. Like most of them are, in this package. And then it just makes people, there's like something about when you tell them like, yeah, all of our clients pick this, it makes them be like, oh, okay, yeah, like that's probably what I would want too, and so it just, it makes the entire process on the sales call. We're also very flexible with people. Like we tell them it's a retainer, and we like a 3-month or a 6-month commitment, but we also tell everybody like we understand life might, if there's anything that comes up, and like you guys said, just as long as you give us 30 days, like we're not here to, hold you to this contract. And so people see us as humans that are really like there in their corner. And I make it very clear, like it's not transactional. Like it's not just like we deliver and then you don't hear from us. We have like the monthly calls where we just make sure that we are serving you to the best ability that we can. And it's an open line of communication. So I feel like for people, they really just see the value in that. And they're like, oh. And so then when I pull up the deck and I pitch them, it's so much easier. Like they're already so warmed up that they're like, and so I always say like, well, let's just try it for a month. And then if you love it, if it's a good fit for the both of us, like we also have to love the client, right? Like we don't want to be stuck working with a client that, isn't
the right fit.
Yeah, isn't the right fit. And so then it's just kind of like, it's like a no strings attached. And we make it really easy for people to say yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
I was
That's
just
the key
like,
right there.
I was just like smiling the entire time Laura's talking because I'm like, what you're saying is people need to go back and like record that, transcript it, and use it on their sales calls because you did so many things, even as you're like off the cuff talking about your sales calls. Like, I love the our client language. Like, that's something that we're like,
Huge.
it's such a trust builder to be able to say, instead of, I think you should do a monthly package and because it will cause this result, you're saying, well, our clients like to do this type of package because of X, Y, and Z result they get, right? Like that is so brilliant. And I also love how you brought up the problem, right? You take what they're saying, what they initially came for. Oh, I came for this type of wedding package or this type of brand package or this video or headlining film or whatever it is. And it's like, that's great. But the ultimate goal that you want, which is why you have to ask those questions to figure out what the ultimate goal is, that is just a piece of the puzzle. It's not the full thing. And here is what will actually fulfill the full thing. That was just textbook, classic, brilliant sales call, little mock right there. So
I mean,
Laura, you did a great
literally
job.
learned it from you guys.
Well, you did it so well.
You've done a great job. And Brian, I love how you're like, sometimes let's go up to the door and I just hear her selling and she comes out. She's like, we got it.
We got it, baby.
I'm like, that's the best.
That's
That's
so
awesome.
good.
That's so cool.
Amazing.
Brian, what have you what have you learned about the role of marketing yourself and
Stepping outside of the comfort zone.
yeah, getting outside of the comfort zone a little bit? How has that one helped to build your business, and then also has you having to market yourself helped you actually be better at creating content to help other people market?
Yeah, I mean, it totally has, because like now it's like, it's almost like I have to put myself in my client's shoes, and I think that is the bigger kind of like, I have to be the proof, so that whatever I'm pitching or whatever I'm asking of people, I gotta make sure that like I believe it too. So I have to do it. But yeah, being on camera is not my, like, even right now, just being on camera is like very like out of place for me, because like I'm always behind it. But I've learned so much. I mean, you know, like Laura said, like the mastermind was jam packed, like 6 weeks of just like, you know, just diving in on it. And we're still going back and like finding the little nuggets here and there. And I think that's the coolest part of the mastermind is like, you don't just leave, just like, you know, with all the knowledge. It's like you can come back to it. You have a community that you can go to, and to me, like that's like, it's like priceless.
Yeah,
it really is.
Well,
like what
I'm
you guys
glad,
have
man.
created is like something that is just yeah.
And the reality is, like, you know, it's probably going to take us months, maybe even a year to like implement all the things that, because I think like the biggest takeaway that I had from the entire, I think it was like module like week 5 or something, where like you were talking about like the stages of your business, and if you're in this type of income, these are kind of the like all the systems you need in place, and then you level up, and then these are the systems. And when I heard that, I was like, oh my gosh, like we're in like 3 different levels at once. Like our income is here, but then our systems are like, we're here, and then we're also we have a toe in this. So that felt you know, to be like totally honest, like I feel like, and I knew going into this, like if we do this right and we go all in and we put our heads down, like I kind of joke to our friends that like we kind of just died to the world for 6 weeks, because we were like, we're like locked in. And actually implementing everything will take longer. I thought I could do it in those 6 weeks. And so a lot of times I felt really frustrated of like, well, we don't have the lead gen system. I don't have the meta, you know, all figured out. I can't run ads yet. And so just knowing that and giving ourselves grace that like that will come and it's always there for us to revert back to. But just knowing that building out the systems and making sure that you have the foundation is like so important. So that's currently the stage that we're in right now. And that I was just like so mind blowing. Like I still like every day I'm like, wow, we know, like I have I know exactly what system I need to build before we can actually move on to the next. So that I think has been like the coolest thing.
Yeah, I love that. And what's funny about that is you'll never outgrow that. Like as you guys continue to grow the business, you will find yourself constantly coming back to things you already know. but you're coming back to it because you're looking at it with a totally different perspective now because your business is in a different stage, right? Yeah. So that's the funny thing about business, and that's why I'm so glad that the mastermind has been so beneficial for you in that way, because we have people from 5-6 years ago that took the mastermind that still hit me up and we'll be like, hey bro, I just came back and refreshed this, or hey, we just redid this, and because we're now in this new phase where we're at this income level, or we just hired our second team member or whatever, and they're just constantly coming back to the foundational stuff to go, how does this apply to the season of life and business we're in now, which is a cool thing. And the lesson here for everybody listening to the podcast is that if you fail to recognize that business is always the same, it just looks a little bit different, and the problems might feel a little bit different depending on which size of business you're at. People that grow their business from 50 to 150, if they don't ever go back and go, how do I relearn everything I already know from the perspective of someone who's doing 150 now a year? If they don't do that, their operating system in their head continues to be, and maybe even very physically, continues to be the operating system that got them to 150 from 50. Yeah. And if they're still operating as someone who operates like they make 50, 80 grand a year, it's going to be really difficult to scale past 150. But if you start making, oh gosh, we scaled up to 150, this is amazing. Let's go back to the drawing board. Let's re-strategize what this looks like. Let's actually kind of reteach ourselves what the foundational stuff looks like, but through this new lens. Yeah. And that is one of the things that we see a lot of people get stuck with, and it causes a lot of frustration, and most importantly, it stunts a lot of people's growth. So I love that you're like, hey, we still have a lot of things to build out. And
well, like, shoot, they're already making almost $14K a month.
Of course, you guys have got a lot of things to build out. I'm like, you guys have been fulfilling client work. I mean, it's amazing.
Like, dang, I wonder when you do feel like you've built all those things out, what's your freaking monthly revenue going to be then?
I know, it's crazy. It's crazy. But that's really encouraging because I just want everyone that's listening to the show to take that and be like, wow, like, it's always okay to come back to something you've already learned or something you've learned only a small fraction of, and you want to expand on it. You'll never outgrow the basics. The basics just transform how they apply to you in different stages of the business, which is a really cool thing. So
that's super cool, you guys.
Yeah,
well, I love that.
Talk to us a little bit more about, like, why did you join the mastermind? I know you mentioned a bunch of stuff about what you got from the mastermind, but take us back to prior to doing this. What was going through your head?
I feel like, Laura, didn't you find out about like this whole situation like a week before the mastermind even started?
Like, literally, I was about to go on a sales call with someone who's now a retainer client, and I was like I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna say, and they were already a warm lead, so I knew I had to nail it. She was interested, so it was like, I have to nail this. And I was looking at Brian, and I was like, and I just went outside. I was like, I'm gonna put my AirPods in, I'm gonna go on Spotify, and I literally typed in like creative and pitch, because I was like, how do I pitch myself? And then I went through a few, and I was like, next, and then I landed on you guys, and I was like, oh wait, this is like, they're speaking exactly like the pain point that I have. And so I kind of became obsessed with the podcast. I loved putting the girls to bed. Like, usually we trade off, and it's like, you do a night, I do a night, and I would just go every night, put my AirPods in, and I would just like lay with them and binge an episode or two, because it felt like I was getting so much value, and I was like, wow, this is way better than anything else I could be doing with my time. Like, I'm learning so much. And so I would tell Brian about it, and he had his own podcast that he listened to, and so he'd be like, yeah, and I'm like, no babe, they have this course, and I think like we got to do it. And he'd kind of like, yeah, like we'll talk about it later, or not totally like sold on it. And I was just like, I need you to stop whatever you're doing, just listen to these people. Like, I have this calling, like they are the ones that are going to get us to. Because before, it was very much like Brian would do some video, like he was acting as a freelancer, and then I would help out, but it was like, how do we actually get this as to become a business? Like, we want to operate as a creative agency. We both have so much experience working in production. We lived in LA, that's where we met, and so we have all this wealth, and I've always been good with business, but I didn't know how to turn like a creative business of like filmmaking or video into a very profitable thing. And so that was just it felt like the easiest yes, where like the minute, I think I was like the first one when those
when the application went live.
Yeah, I was like, I had my alarm. I was like, no one talk to me. Like, we're doing this.
Yeah, 'cause I remember her coming to me like, all right, we're gonna do it. I'm like, all right, I trust you. And like,
She's like, I'm just letting you know what we're doing.
yeah, because there's times where she'll come to me where it's like, I'm listening to this podcast and like, it's really good. You should listen to it. But like, this one was like, Brian, like, this is it. Like, we're gonna do this. I'm like, all right. And like, I've never seen her that excited about something. So I was like, all right, I trust you. So she went in on it and I'm like, let's do it. So.
And I think it was like after a week, he was maybe still like slightly just, had some reservations. And I think after a week, I was like, do you, and he was like,
believe?
Yeah. He was like, oh yeah, this is like the greatest investment, because we had never invested in ourselves, into our education. Like we've always invested in gear. And I think that was my whole, where he's always like, oh, like I already know when he's coming in to talk to me about a new lens or a new camera that he wants to purchase. And he's like,
you can smell it when he's coming in, like, hey, Laura. It's a marketplace.
And he's got his whole little like, and I'm just like, oh my God, like we don't need any more gear. Like what we need is
a plan.
We
need a plan.
I think that's where I knew that was like my role to shine. I'm like, okay, he's got the creative down and we work so good as a team, but like I was really the one that had to look at it from like the business perspective of like, how are we going to make this? Like we're going all in, and if not, what's going to happen is like we're going back to a 9-to-5, and we both 100% like that is not the life for us. We know that, and this has just given us so much freedom. We also work, some days like every day, and so we work more than we've ever worked, but it's intentional as we're in this building phase. But once things, are smoother and we've been on with clients for like X amount of time, the work just becomes so much easier, because it's not like you're having to conceptualize for a whole new brand and take so much of that, precious brain power. You're just really focusing on keeping it up, which is so much greater.
Which is so cool, you guys. I actually really love the dynamic you two have, because I think that every successful creative business doesn't starve the business side and doesn't starve the creativity side. And like those two things, when those are like balanced really well, it feels like, man, that's like a very unstoppable business in a lot of time, in a lot of ways. Because if it's all about the business, then it can feel like, oh, I've just created a prison for myself and I don't love what I'm doing. I'm not passionate about what I'm doing. But if it's all just passion and no strategy, then it ends up not going anywhere.
Doesn't make money.
You guys have both, I think, come on both sides, which is really cool. Like Brian, you have absolutely been crushing it, and like on the strategy side, like that side being developed in you is super cool. And Laura, I feel like you as well, just getting so excited about what you guys are doing. You guys are like such a duo. It's amazing. And you guys were so awesome in the community and so awesome encouraging other people too, and being willing to jump in. And that's what's so cool about the mastermind, is that it's not just like, oh, a one-on-one thing. It's like a group thing, and you get to watch what other people are doing. And I know people were watching you guys getting really encouraged, just like people listening to this podcast right now are probably feeling really encouraged about that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, you guys are a great team.
Yeah,
really, really great team. What's been the ROI for you guys?
I mean, like the 100 that I got it. It's like there's no number to even put on it. It it paid for itself within like. I do remember it was like week 3 and everyone was like, here are my wins and or this. And like, we hadn't rang the bell yet. And I was like, oh, like we're not. And then all of a sudden, like the moment that everything just clicked, it was like bell.
Yeah. It was like clutch, like right at the end. But I think the thing we spoke about before getting on the podcast was like, a lot of people can dive into books and like learn. There's millions of resources out there, right? Like how to start your business, how to run it, and this. But like it's more than just that. And I think like what you guys created, like with the community, it's like we're all in the trenches, Like we're in there. Yeah. You guys are pumping everyone up. We're all pumping each other up. It's like there's something about that, like the community aspect, that truly what drives the energy to like have people like go out and like get it,
Yeah.
So
and
cool.
that's something that's like, I mean,
and I feel like as creatives, like we used to always say like, especially in our little town, there's not a lot of creatives here. It's a little town in Texas. We came from LA where things, it was just like creativity booming at every corner. And a lot of times we'd be like, wow, we just feel like really like alone, like just kind of isolated. Like we're these creatives who do, and like, you tell people what you do and it's like, oh, you're not in tech, like you're not, or something, and so we felt really alone, and like having that just hub and support from everybody where it's like, hey, they do like just what we do, or we're all adjacent businesses, and she has a win, like that's so freaking cool, like let's pump her up, and so it just it's been incredible.
It's awesome,
you guys.
Well, that's a good thing to wrap up on for everybody listening to the show. Find, whether it's through Creative Rides or it's through anything else, find something where you are supported, you're motivated, you're energized, you're encouraged. Because it's so different when you have that buzz. Of community and of new information, and you have context on how to apply that new information. Like it just creates a fire in you, which is so cool. So really guys, this has been awesome. I can't wait to have you guys back on the podcast at some point to talk about what new stuff you guys have been learning and accomplishing, and how you guys can share that.
You'll have probably a new
amazing
flop.
People.
You'll have another flop.
You might have another flop.
Just like
let's just hope it's not audio.
Something else. But our final question.
Where can people find you first?
Where can people find
you guys? Follow along.
Our Instagram is 9th and Main. So
spelled out 9th and Main. And then the website 9thxmain.com.
Cool.
Awesome.
Love it.
It's amazing. And signature question at the end. Why is it worth it? Why is it worth it to pursue your own thing, not work the 9 to 5, do the hard, scary thing of going, full on with your own business and breaking the creative struggle? Why is it worth it for you guys?
I think it's just, the life that you want is just on the other side of you actually taking a bet on yourself. And if you're going to work, if you're driven and you have talent, like put it together and then figure out the business aspect of it. Because if not, you're just going to spend your best years and the rest of your life working this hard, making somebody else a bunch of money, and like your freedom, you have to ask off time off work. Like really think about the life that you want and write it down. Like we got so intentional with like writing it and making that plan, because it's just right there. You just have to figure out and get the right support that will help you reach your goals. But
it's amazing.
Yeah, what you said.
I love it. He's like ditto.
I love it, man. Guys, this has been so great.
Thanks for
First
being
of all,
here.
Thank you for being here. Second of all, we are so proud of you guys. Like, way to just be sponges and soak stuff up and then go implement it right away. Way to be just phenomenal, encouraging community members and just cheering everybody else on. And way to be awesome parents too, and being like, hey, we can be parents and show our kids that we can go after dreams and make things happen. And what a beautiful story your 2025 has been already. So thanks for being here. This has been awesome.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you guys.
Man, I just love those two. They're crushing it. I'm like so inspired even listening to them, and I just walked the last 6 weeks with them. So I hope you feel like so energized by what they're talking about.
There's so many good things in there.
So many good clips to clip from. So I'm so excited.
Yeah, it was so good, guys. So shout out to Laura and Brian. Make sure you go follow them. Go check out their work. Go hit them up on socials. Check out what they are doing. And most importantly, learn from what they're doing and actually apply it, right?
Yeah.
Get excited about it. Go apply it today. And if you want to get even more excited about learning all the things that they went through in the 6-week Creative Rise Mastermind, round 14 is coming in the fall, as we said at the beginning of the podcast, which is so exciting. Now, what are you going to learn in round 14 of the 6-week Creative Rise Mastermind? Well, it's round 14, so we're going to teach you the same things we've taught 13 previous rounds of 35 business owners per round, which is how to actually build the business side of your business. If you want to learn how to really create solid offers that actually sell, they're actually the things that business owners want to buy, or brides want to buy, that, whether you're in the commercial space or you're over in the weddings and couples space. Really going to help you dial in what you're selling, how much you're selling it for. So we're going to re-engineer your whole pricing, which is very, very important. Then we're going to help you brand all of that. Then we're going to help you learn how to market that. You'll learn how to actually nurture your network. Going to teach you how to sell, as Laura talked about here. Then we're going to teach you how to scale, which you've then built and priced and marketed and sold. And teach you how to scale that business then. And then lastly, we're going to teach you how to do it all and not burn out, which is very, very important.
Yeah.
So 6 weeks, everything I just talked about is covered in 6 weeks. It's amazing. But even better than the content is the community side of it. And it sounds very, very fluff. And I would have never believed it myself too, right? A lot of people say, oh, I didn't come for the community. I came for the content, but I'm leaving going, holy cow, the community is something that I'm going to be running with and living with forever because I've made such great friends. And you heard them talk about it. There's just a buzz when you're around people that get what you are struggling with. They also get what happens when you have a win and they get to celebrate with you. There's so many great things about that. So we take 35 business owners every single time we do this. And there's a reason for that, because any more than that, we would not be able to keep up with actually giving you guys the attention your businesses deserve. So we can actually give you feedback and help you guys build. It's going to be amazing. We've already got a wait list going on. So if you want to get into or have a potential to get into round 14, you got to jump on the wait list because the wait list sells out about 80% of the spots every single time. So if you're not on the wait list, you're giving yourself a small little chance of getting into the last couple of spots. So go on over there, jump on the wait list. And even better than that, when you join the wait list for round 14, you are also going to get the brand new sales call formula course, which is going to teach you how to sell on a sales call. Going to give you step by step, minute by minute, actually, the framework on how to lead a client through a sales call that's going to lead to you getting your next yes, which is amazing. So it's normally $49. We're giving that to you for free when you join the waitlist for round 14. If you're interested, go on over to creativehours.com. You'll see that there. And guys, so glad you're here. Welcome back to the show. And we're so excited to see you guys next week as well. If this was helpful, share it with a friend. Did I miss anything?
Nope.
Is
we
that
will
it? Awesome,
see
guys.
you next week, you
Cool,
guys.
guys. We'll catch you next week.